to today's webinar. Today we're going to discuss bathroom design. We're going to look at creating and inserting different elements into the design and how you can manipulate walls and floors to be able to create something that's a little bit maybe different in your design as well. Following the presentation, I'm going to open up the chat panel so you can type in any questions that you might have on bathroom design. And then following the entire presentation, we'll email you out a booklet so you can read about all of the different settings we went through and how we created the bathroom and all of the different elements. Looking on my screen right now, this is the bathroom that we are going to create together. So I'm going to show you how to personalize all of the different elements that are in the space, from adding the wallpaper on the wall to changing the vanity to maybe be one that's not all the way down to the floor, and adding in a platform tub and a side shower. I know they're not used as much anymore, but if you are incorporating those into your design, you want to be able to know how to create those smaller walls and the surface on top of the tub as well. We're going to be creating this in a whole different model, and we're going to be using this as our inspiration in our design board. So I'm going to put this down into a 2D view. And in a 2D view, you can see that I've got a copy of the exact same model side by side. So I'm going to zoom in on our new one and start creating and inserting the various elements. So the first thing that I want to start designing is the shower unit and our platform tub area. So I'm going to click on the wall tool, and that will take me to our catalog of different wall styles. And under the custom folder, and this is our default Envisioneer 13 catalog, you'll see that we have a 2x4 tiled shower wall. And if I double click on that wall, all we've done differently for this wall and what I've personalized for it is under the top and bottom tab, I've set a user-defined height. Usually when you insert a wall, it'll look up to your building locations information and grab whatever the height of the wall that you've set as a general wall height for the entire model, and it will use that. But for here, what I've done is I've set this one to be a very specific 1'10" height. I want that for the height, so it's going to sit to the platform height of our tub, and also for our shower wall, I want it to be that high as well. And the only other difference change with this wall is the appearance. I've given the surface material to be a solid finish for the look that we had in our inspiration. So to get that wall, a wall again can be any thickness you want, any height that you want, and we've just personalized this particular wall to be a little bit shorter than what they normally are and have a different appearance set to them. So I'm going to grab that wall, move my cursor onto the drawing screen, and then I'm just going to want to create it over about 4 feet wide for our shower unit and our tub. So to get it exactly 4 feet wide from the corner, I'm going to right click and tell it to use an insertion offset of 4 feet. Once I've typed that in, I can move my cursor to any corner and it'll automatically hop to 4 feet away from that corner. So once I see that extension line away from the corner that I want it to be from, all I have to do is left click and my cursor will automatically jump to that point. And then I'm just going to bring it all the way down to this corner below and right click and tell it that I'm finished. So now I have a wall that's only 1'10" high. I'm going to add another one for our shower and place it right in here as well. So we can have our shower, and then I'm just going to click on that wall and tell it that I also want that shower to be 4 feet wide. So 4 feet down and 4 feet wide in this area. So I have a 4x4 shower area. I'm then going to go to the Interiors tab, and underneath the Interiors tab, this is where we organize all the interior elements that you can insert, from the cabinetry, interior elements like furniture, appliances, lighting, plumbing fixtures. So I'm going to grab plumbing fixtures to begin with, so I can grab a tub. So I'm just going to scroll through the options here until I see bathtubs. And then you'll see a number of different tubs that are available. There's both freestanding drop-in tubs, tub and surround units. So I'm going to use this drop-in tub. Now, when I bring in this drop-in tub, I'm just going to turn collision on for you. See how it doesn't want to go into that particular area? It's noticing it might be just a little bit small on this particular angle. So I'm going to left click to insert that tub, right click and tell it I'm finished. And then I'm going to give it a spin and then move it in that area. You just have to drag it over top of that wall. And now that I've got it in, I'm just going to put it right over top of that window. So when we're in the tub, we can look out the window. Now that I have the tub in place, I have the walls in place. The next thing you might want to do then is add the platform area over the tub area. And I could back that up as well. If I wanted to add another wall in this area, if I didn't want it quite that long of a platform, there's nothing stopping from grabbing this wall and saying duplicate, and then dragging it down to about this point right here. And then I'm just going to click on that dimension and make it exactly 7 feet. So we've got a platform area here of 7 feet, and then I'll just delete out this extra piece of wall. So I'm just building shorter walls in around my tub and around my shower. Now, if I go back to our inspiration, the view of that bathroom, what we've built so far are these shorter walls that you see here. And I'm just going to do a little look around here. So just these short little walls here. But you'll notice in our inspiration that there's also glass sitting on top of these short little walls in that area. So I'm going to show you next how we created those shower walls that are glass. With my cursor hovered over it, you can see that it's called shower glass wall. And then in brackets, it shows you the location, shower glass. And if I move my cursor down to one of our tile walls that we inserted again in our new model as well, you can see in brackets it's on the ground floor. So if I come up here to settings and then go to building locations, you can see that we've created a new location called shower glass. When you want to stack a wall directly on top of another wall, you have to make sure that it has area in that building location to stack on top of it. You can't stack a wall on top of another wall in the same location. So we've created a new location called shower glass and given a floor level to sit just up and above our wall here that we've created. And we've given it an appropriate height here of 6'6". So this entire ceiling height is 9 feet, but we've bumped this up to 2'6", so it's sitting on top of our little stub wall of that tile, and then took up the rest of the height and the wall height to bring it up to that 9 feet. Because it's on a different location, it can therefore stack right directly on top of that ground floor wall. So we've taken these walls, our tile walls, they're just short, and we've got this glass wall sitting on top of it because it's on a different location. So let me show you how we did that in our sample working wall. So here's the model that we're building, and here are the tile walls that we've created. So I'm just going to hold down my Shift key to select these two walls, because these two walls are what's going to have glass on top of them in our shower wall location. And I want them to be in the exact same location. So what I'm going to do is grab these two existing walls in the position where I also want the glass wall. And when I have them selected, I'm going to right click and choose Duplicate to Locations. Duplicate to Locations takes a copy of whatever I've selected, those two walls, and duplicates them to another location. And I'm going to tell them to duplicate it up to our shower glass location and click OK. Do I want to delete the original tile walls? No, I do not. So I click No. And then down here in the lower left-hand corner of my screen where it's telling me that I'm currently designing on the ground floor, I'm going to tell it that I want to now move to that shower glass location. Now I can see vibrantly my two walls that I copied up, and lightly ghosted in the background is my ground floor. When I copy these up, they're still tiled shower walls. So I need to tell them that I need them to be glass walls. So I'm going to select one, hold down my shift key, select the other wall, so both of them are selected, right click again, and change it to replace. Replace allows me to replace whatever I've selected with something different. It's going to hold the same position, but replace it with something else. So I choose replace, and I'm going to choose the glass wall. Glass wall is a wall that exists in the Envisioneer 13 catalog under the custom wall type. So you will find it there, and I'll click OK. Now you can see there are two thinner walls. So I'm going to select those glass walls again, look at their properties, and go to the top and bottom tab. Here we can see that they're set to a 6-foot wall height. So we want them to be that 6 foot tall. That will stack that glass wall directly on top of our wall below it, the tile wall here. So what we've done so far, if I go to the view of our new bathroom that we've created, is we have our shower glass wall and we have our platform wall beneath it. If I go back to our inspiration bathroom, now in that same area, what we also have to do is add that doorway and then start working on the wall treatments in our platform tub top. So I'll put this back into a 2D view. To get a door in here, it's just like inserting any kind of door. I'm going to go to the Building tab and grab our door tool. You'll notice in our catalog panel to the right, there is a custom folder. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of your catalog, and this is in the Envisioneer 13 Master Catalog, so you will have a copy of this glass shower door. By grabbing that glass shower door, all I have to do is left click to insert it wherever I want it in my model. Right click, choose finish. If I take a look at that door, there we can see it inserted into not only the tile wall on the bottom, but also the glass wall sitting above it. It recognized that it had that wall sitting above it and also cut the appropriate hole into it as well. Now, with this door, we want it to come up over a slight curb so the water doesn't flow out. So I'm going to take the door, right click, and choose elevate. And I'm going to move that door up 4 inches. And that'll create that little bit of a stub underneath it for us. Okay, so far in our journey to recreate the view of bathroom 1, we've created the shorter walls by again going to our wall tool and grabbing the 2x4 tiled shower wall. And then we created the glass wall sitting above them. And then we inserted a door into that area. Now we have to create the platform area around that tub and change our wall treatments, add our double vanity and our mirrors. So I'm going to right click here and go back down to our 2D view. I'm going to zoom in on the tub area that we're creating. To get a surface to cover over top of our platform tub, I'm going to be using the Surfaces tool. This is a very handy tool. It'll allow you to create any kind of horizontal surface that you need. It even can be on an angle. So think of not only platform tub areas, but maybe you need a garage floor that's showing a slight tilt, maybe going towards the garage door. Any kind of flat surface that's on a tilt or flat in that horizontal direction, you can use the Surfaces tool for. So I'm going to click on Surfaces. And then in our catalog panel to the right, I'm going to show you how to create that platform tub surface. So I'm going to select one that's already there, just a surface. I'm going to use this 7/8 sheathing. Right click on it and say Add an element. When it comes in here, it needs to know what thickness I want it to be. So I'm going to give it a 1/2 inch thickness. If I was using this as a floor or a ceiling surface, I could also put in an R value for it as well. So when we're thinking about the entire um, insulated value of the home, I can look at these R values that have been associated to it. Because we're using this not as a floor or ceiling surface per se, but as a platform tub, I can just leave those blank. At the top here where we have 7/8 of an inch plywood sheathing, I'm going to give that tile platform name so I can use it again in the surfaces as well in future projects. I'm going to go to the Details tab. There's nothing to fit in here. It's all more if this was a roof surface, but it's the appearance that I need. So I'm going to click on the surface in my components list and then hold down my shift key to go all the way down to the soffit surface. So this will grab all of the different components that'll make up my tile platform surface. So I'm giving them all the same material. And then I just move my cursor over here to materials to grab the material that I want to use. So I'm just going to scroll down in my list here until I get to hard surface materials. And then I'm just going to grab a hard surface material. I'm using countertop number 12 as my sample surface. And then I just simply click OK. And now this tile platform that I've created has a material here that I want to use, and it has the thickness that I want as well. That's all I need to do to create this new surface. And I click OK. And now this new tile platform surface is in my catalog, and it'll be there forever for me for future projects as well. I select it, and I'm going to start designing and pointing and clicking where I want to start and stop this surface. So I move my cursor out onto the drawing screen. I want it to come to the edge of the wall that I've created. So I'm going to turn on my object snap here so it can find my surfaces for me. And I'm going to left click along the edge of the wall to create that surface. So I'm going to come up where I'm going to and make sure that I am in line with my first point by using my snap track tool. Turn that on. So just by hovering over my first point, it'll allow me to be right in line with my last point. Once I've selected those 4 corners, I do not need to come back and select my original surface. I just need to point out and click on the 4 corners. I right click and tell it I'm finished. Now I need to define the surface in regards to its height. You can see in here that I can have a slope value set to it as well. So if I wanted this to be on an incline, I can do so. But I'm going to keep the slope value locked here at 0. So I'm going to change my upper point to be the height that I want it. So I want it to be 1'11", and I want my lower point to be 1'11" as well. And because slope value has been locked at 0, it both automatically goes in. And this brings it to the top of my surface. So my walls are 1'10", I believe, and I've got my 1/2 inch surface. So I'm going to show you also how to adjust this because it is going to be a 1/2 inch high. And click OK. So when I look out now, you'll see 2 things. It's sitting over top of the entire tub. It's going to cut it. There's not going to be cutaway around the tub yet. And it's going to be sitting up a little bit high. You can see that little lip there. If I ever need to change the height of that platform, I can select it, right-click on it, go to Surface Commands, and redefine the surface. And then I can tell it that I want it to bring it down to 10.5 and adjust that. And this one as well, I'm going to make that a 0. And now they're both 1'10½", and that will lower it down to sit directly on my walls. But you can see I still need to cut a hole around the tub opening there. So I'm going to put it back into 2D. And to easily select that surface again, I can come up to Edit, select previous. And it will select the last thing that I selected in whatever view I was in. And in that 3D view, I had selected on that platform tub surface. So with it now selected, I can right click and choose down near the bottom here, cut opening. When I'm cutting an opening, again, I'm just pointing out the areas of the hole. So I'm going to go to the corners of my tub here and just select the 4 corners. Again, I don't need to return back down to the start point. Once I've selected those 4 corners, it knows how to cut the hole. It automatically returns itself to the start point. So I can right click and choose finish. And now you can see that outline around the tub's surface is giving me all of the grip points around the hole that I cut. And if I look in 3D, we can see the hole cut as well. Now let's deal with finishes. If we go back and look at our inspiration, we have a different paint color on the wall, and we have some wallpaper on the wall over here. So I'm going to come up here to this material paintbrush. And when I choose the material paintbrush, the materials will appear in the catalog panel. So these are all various materials that I can click and apply to any surface. You'll notice this eyedropper. If I click on the eyedropper and come over to the wallpaper, it will show me exactly what wallpaper it's using, wallpaper number 2. So if I go back to my original view that I wanted to over here, I can again grab that paintbrush. It's still on wallpaper number 2. Grab my applicator here and click on that wall that I want to apply it to. Inside the shower unit, I want it to be the same tile that I have around the tub and in the walls. So I'm going to put this back into 2D, zoom back out here, and insert a camera inside that shower unit so I can be standing in there and applying the surfaces around it. To do that, I come down to Place New Camera, found here under the 3D, and then it wants to know where I want to stand, I left click, and where I want to look, I left click, and then it brings me inside that surface. Using this little navigation tool down here on the lower right where I'm hovering my cursor called Look Around, I can pull down so that I can see the materials that I want to use. So again, I'm going to grab my material paintbrush. I'm going to take a sample of the tile that I'm using, and it's that hard surface countertop number 12. I'm just going to be creating that surface in and around the tub, and I'm going to apply it to these 2 walls. It automatically stops at the wall breaks where I have the little short wall, so it automatically knows to stop there. And then on the floor, I'm going to grab a floor tile. So I'm just going to come down to Tiles, Floor Tile, and then choose a new floor tile to use with that. So I'll just grab some generic floor tile here, tile number 2 or 3 here, and just apply it in our shower. Now, you can see the baseboard still going around these walls. That wall, as a default, wants trim around the base. I want to remove that. So I'm going to select these 2 walls, look at their properties. When you look at the properties of a wall, they all have a trim tab, which can automatically associate trim to the walls. Very handy when you're designing. But in our case, we want to delete them out. So I'm just going to take all instances of trim right off of those walls so there's nothing left. So it automatically, I mustn't have held down the shift key there, and I'll just remove that trim as well. So I'll take those out so that there is absolutely no trim left. And it's just the solid surface right down to our tile. Okay, and then I'm just going to return to our other 3D view out here. And from here, I want to change our material on our floor to match that same floor tile. So I'll go to tile number 3 and apply it to the floor and apply it to the walls itself. So I can I'll just grab a color to keep us going there and grab just a gray tone or Rockport gray there to change the color of the walls. What we also had in the model in our inspiration is a vanity put in here. I'm going to put this back down into 2D and go to our Interiors tab and click on the Cabinets tool. Under the Cabinets tool, if I scroll down, you'll also see that we have bathroom vanities, double door, single door, all different types of vanities in the unit itself, drawers only, single doors, all different types. So I'm going to grab one of these and I'm going to show you how you can change and alter it. So I'm going to insert one, this 36-inch double door bathroom vanity, and then we're going to customize it so we have the same appearance as this one here with the one that we've just inserted that looks like this. So I'm just going to turn my look around here. So I'm going to grab this one vanity, right-click on it, and look at its properties. Now, in our inspiration, the height of the vanity itself was much less than that. It was only 18 inches instead of 2 foot 8, 30 inches. So I'm going to change it to 18 inches here. And you can see it got shorter. And it also was only a type 1. There was only one piece of material all the way along it. If I go to the Details tab, it also didn't have a backsplash. So I'm going to remove that as well. And then under the Appearance tab, instead of being the gray material, it was a glossy white. So just holding down my Control key on my keyboard, I'm grabbing all of the elements that I want to change to the glossy white. So I've left off the countertop, which we're going to leave as that material. The handles, we don't want to change to the glossy white. And if there was any glass, I wouldn't want that either. So I click on the material. It'll take me back into my catalog. And I'm just going to go to a folder called Finishes. And these are just general finishes that you can have. And I wanted to have the same kind of glossy finishes, almost a PVC white. So I click OK to change it to that white material. And then I simply click OK. When it goes in and changes that, it changes the height and it drops the top down. So what I need to do is tell it that even though I have made this a foot shorter, I can also elevate it up to be that right height. So with it selected, I right-click and choose Elevate and tell it that I need it to be sitting that 18 inches above the floor. And then it raises it up. And all I have to do is click OK. I'm going to put it back down into 2D, grab the one that I created, right-click, and choose Duplicate to put one right next door. So now it's a double vanity unit in here. With that done, I'll put it back down into 2D, go back to our Plumbing Fixtures tool under the Interiors tab where I'm moving my cursor around. Scroll up in our catalog here to Sinks and grab an oval wide sink. 1, 2. And that will create the same look as we had in our inspiration. So here's what we've created, given that we had this inspiration that we wanted to look like. So our last points are then inserting the 2 mirrors and some light fixtures and changing our fixtures to be the gold finished instead of the silver. So back into 2D I go in our new model that we're creating. And I'm going to go to Interior Accessories. Under Interior Accessories, if you look under the Decorative folder in the catalog that appears, and I'm just scrolling underneath that Decorative folder until I see some mirrors. And I've got this round framed mirror. Now this round frame mirror is a large mirror. So I'm going to be editing it once I get it inserted so that it's smaller. So first of all, I'm going to zoom in because I want to put them over top of my vanities, and I want to make sure that I'm putting them over top. So I'm just grabbing it So I'm going to turn off our collision to be able to put them over top of our vanity. And I'm just left clicking to place one over top of the one sink. See how large it is? I want to change its properties so it's smaller. So I'm going to left click to select the mirror I just inserted, right click, and look at its properties. And instead of it being 4 foot wide, I want it to be half of that. I only want it to be 2 foot wide. And then you can see that all of the other sizes will automatically change because I gave it a uniform scale. I click OK. It's much smaller. I'll move it back up against the wall. And then with it still selected, right click, choose duplicate because I need 2, and take one to the other sink as well. So now if I look out in 3D, it might be sitting at the wrong height, possibly. No, they look pretty great. I've got my 2 sinks with the vanity sitting underneath the mirrors. But now I want to change those fixtures, add a fixture for our tub, and add some lights in. So I'm just going to select the sink, right click, say select all similar. Select all similar will look in the model for all of the sinks that are exactly the same and select them all at the same time. And I'm going to look at their properties. Under the Appearance tab, I'm going to look at the tap and the handle because they're set to more of a silver tone, and I want to change them to a gold tone. So again, I'm going to go to that Finishes folder that we looked in before for the vanity, give it that porcelain color. And I'm just going to change them to look like gold. Click OK, and now they've got that gold finish. And click OK. So now I've got that gold finish on the taps. Put it back into 2D, zoom back out around my platform tub using the zoom window tool. I'm going to go back to plumbing fixtures, and I'm just going to scroll down, and I'm going to look at faucets and fixtures. And in there, you'll see a number of different faucets that you can use. Here in the catalog under faucets. And there's all different ones to choose from. So I'm just going to grab that waterfall faucet, and turning my collision on, I'm just going to insert it. You can see it's going in backwards. It's used to going the other way. And then just holding down my leftmost button, I can turn it. And then I'm just going to move it so that the water is actually going in the tub. With that waterfall faucet, I also want to give it the appearance of having that same gold color. So again, under the Appearance tab, I hold down the Shift key to select all of the components, click on the material. I'll be going back to Finishes in my group list above, and then in the different finishes below that, I'll grab gold again. So now they're changed to gold, and I've got that gold appearance. So if I'm looking again at our camera, it's sitting high, I can move it down. We've got the materials. So I just want to select this, right click, elevate, and bring that down to 1 foot 10.5. Apply. We can see it's sitting on top correctly, and OK to accept that new height. So there is how we created all of the different walls, vanities, and the different fixtures. The only other thing that we can do is grab some lights and bring them over top of our vanity, and we'll get a different light, maybe this cage light here, and place it over top of our tub. And if I am in a realistic view, we'll get that same realistic appearance from the light coming in from the window and our various fixtures as well. So we were able to, just in recapping what we've created, we created walls under our Building tab using the existing custom wall called 2x4 tiled shower wall, which I personalized to have just a solid finish around it instead of the look of individual tile. That wall was only 1 foot 10 high. And then we used our next location called the shower glass location to be able to stack walls on top of existing walls to create this glass wall that's here. To create the surface on top of our platform tub, we used the surfaces tool. Once we picked the corners of where the surface existed, we then told it the height we wanted it off of the floor. We then went a step further, and by selecting the surface, we right-clicked and cut an opening around it, the tub, so that this tub could be shown. We then went through and created a custom vanity. We made it just a 1'6" height vanity, and we changed the appearance of it to have a custom material of that PVC white. So when it renders, it's going to have that glossy finish to it. We then inserted accessories under our interiors tab, and we inserted the mirror and showed you how you can customize the mirror to have a different size to it as well. So lots in covering information in today's webinar, so that you can grab an inspirational photo from wherever you may find it, and with that inspirational photo, be able to create any type of bathroom that you have, given the tools that I was able to show you today. In the booklet that I'm going to send you now after the webinar, it is going to cover all the information that we went through today. How to create a new location, how to edit the height of walls, how to insert a surface, so that you can as well create this same inspiration bathroom design that we were able to create today. So I want to thank everyone for joining me for today's webinar. I hope you learned a little bit about the various tools that we covered, and I look forward to seeing you in an upcoming webinar. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.